Hello.
Hello.
Oh, how do we start?
Give us a little overview of, I guess the
My thought process
yeah.
behind
How did
doing
you
this.
create this list of movies, or how did you pick where we start watching these movies?
Well, I'm a weirdo. I think the origin of this started with me trying to watch all of the Oscar nominees every year.
Was that when you did the list starting from like 1920s, something like
Oh, no,
that?
that's a different list.
Different list.
That's a
Okay.
different list. I have
Okay.
multiple
Of
lists.
course.
But yeah, I love the Oscars, and so every year I want to have watched all of the movies. And so I figured a good way to not have to like play catch up with only like a month's worth of time was to just try to watch all of the good, well-reviewed movies throughout the year.
It's a solid plan.
And then what do you use to figure out what is a good movie? Rotten Tomatoes.
Reddit. Sometimes Reddit, yes.
Sometimes Reddit,
Rotten
yeah.
Tomatoes is good as well.
And I just kind of noticed the way that Rotten Tomatoes like aggregates things. It's just based on, well, did this critic not hate it? Like that's what gives it like a good review.
Right.
What I noticed was a lot of movies that I thought were just kind of like middling, just like meh movies, getting these like certified fresh scores. And I got curious.
Are we talking just critic score or audience score is a factor as well?
I do not care about audience score
Good. Neither do I.
because all of the weird religious movies get really high audience scores.
Yeah.
You have like fanboy brigades or hate trains.
Passion of the Christ 2, we're going in.
Oh, God.
He's
Something
there, too.
tells me Passion of the Christ 2 won't make the list. But I got curious. Are these movies really worth the hype, you know? Because it's really expensive to go to the movie theater. It takes up a lot of time. People have jobs, and some people have families and responsibilities and everything. And you might not have as much time on your hands as someone without a life like me does.
The movies are your life.
I love them.
Yes.
But I'm not certain if Rotten Tomatoes is actually the best source of information for determining that.
Right. Got to get that firsthand experience.
Exactly. So then that made me say, okay, I'm going to watch every movie that gets a certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes for the year. And I'm going to decide if I think it was worth the hype or not.
I like it. How many movies would you say that's translated to in 2025?
So the year's not over yet, but currently there's 107 movies on my list. And we've watched a lot of them, but there's still quite a few. We try to do at least one a week, but inevitably with 107.
We doubled it up a little bit.
Doubling up a little bit,
Yeah.
sometimes quadrupling it up.
Makes for a fun weekend.
It does. It really does. Then I was curious to like, how is this translated over the years? Then I went back to the 90s, to 1990 specifically.
Seemed like a good place to start.
I think so. We were both born in the 90s.
It's true.
So,
Got to start somewhere.
Gotta start somewhere. Maybe one day I'll go back to the 80s and the 70s and such.
Sure.
Of course, I think there's fewer reviews and things for movies in the 90s. I use the Wikipedia list, 1990 in American film. It's a great list. It's very comprehensive.
We love Wikipedia.
We do love Wikipedia. Donate to Wikipedia.
Always. Absolutely. And it helps you review what you would call cult classics.
Exactly. I feel like I am a little behind on classic film. I know more about new releases or
Right.
like anything that came out from like when I was 14 and onward, you know? Everything else is kind of a blind spot for me.
Sure.
So I want to go back and see if there's anything new that I might discover that I really like.
Absolutely.
Let's start with the new release that we watched this week. It was just one.
Just one movie this weekend.
Yeah.
How do you pronounce the title again?
Nouvelle Vague
Okay.
was how they pronounced it in the film. It's French.
Yes, this movie was almost entirely in French, some English.
Yeah, it stands
there.
for New Wave, which is like the era of cinema that these people kind of helped create and popularize in France. But it is directed by Richard Linklater,
The Link.
which your favorite movie last year was
Hitman.
a Linklater movie, Hitman.
Honestly, one of my favorite movies of the last couple years. I enjoy me some Hitman.
I love how unpredictable you are with the movies that you enjoy. Like, we'll finish a movie and you're sitting there like, this is the greatest movie I've ever seen. And it's varied. And I appreciate that about you.
We often have very different opinions on how enjoyable a movie is.
We do. That's
a
why
la
it's good
Red
to both
October
here.
that we'll get into a little bit later. But yes, Linklater movies, I am learning I appreciate, especially the way they're written, the dialogue. I like a good conversational movie. I really, that scratches my brain in the right way.
I, of course, love School of Rock. I mean, what a film.
I always forget he made that.
He did.
Everyone
Great
loves
movie.
School of Rock,
Everyone
yes.
loves School. If someone doesn't like School of Rock.
Red flag.
Yeah. Now, he has been around the Oscars a few times from what I can remember. I thought he was going to win Best Director and Best Picture the year that Boyhood came out,
Okay.
but he was beat by the movie Birdman. It was kind of like, are we going to go with the movie that's a long take or the movie that took years and years and years to make?
Sure.
And he's working on another movie that's gonna take like 20 years to film
Ambitious.
as well. So we'll take a look at that one in about a decade.
I'm sure it'll make the list.
I'm sure. I feel like his movies, they tend to be about something that you'd classify as like a drama, but then there's just still a little like levity there.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, I get that.
It's not like, oh, I'm going to go sit down and watch this movie and be really depressed.
Well, we have our winner for that description, our first 1990 movie, but we'll get into that a little bit later as well.
But yeah, for this movie in particular, how'd you like it?
It was really good. It was very informative. I did think the main character, who was the character being portrayed, Goddard? Is that his name?
Yeah, Godard. Yeah.
Goddard. Utter prick. The whole time.
He was the worst. I don't know much.
Insufferable.
I don't know much about these people in real life, and I unfortunately have not seen the movie Breathless. So I am definitely not the best person to talk about this.
I'm sure it's wonderful if the real situation of shooting that movie was anything like that was portrayed in the film that we watched. I can definitely understand why the cast and crew were just livid at this man the entire time while trying to make a movie, because they all seem to be professional actors and cameramen and everything like that. And as we'll explain, he kind of goes into this filmmaking very aloof.
He goes in without a plan.
Great for a movie.
Yeah, exactly. Especially one with a tight deadline and budget. And he just thinks that whatever instinct he has is the correct one. And I feel like that can work in certain situations. I mean, people seem to really like this movie, but all it makes me think is when I was in college and you would have all of these, it was always some dude who would just act on impulse and do things that were dangerous, unprofessional.
That's what makes it fun.
Essentially just being a real asshole to people because they think that they're the next Godard or whoever, and they're just not. They're just some guy.
I feel like what was portrayed, or the filmmaking style in this movie, is what Francis Ford Coppola tries to do and drops the ball so much. Mm-hmm. That's really what it reminded me of. We're going in, not much of a plan, not even an outline a lot of times. But it was interesting to see the development of the story and everything. I still don't know what this movie, what Breathless, the final product, was about. We should watch that at some point.
It seems like it was about this thief.
Okay.
But yeah, have not seen the movie, so don't really have a lot of context for this. And I'm personally of the belief that for any movie that you watch, you shouldn't have to do homework to go into it.
Going fresh.
Because it's not like a TV show or like a book series. I think even movies that are sequels need to be comprehensible to a person who would just go to the movie theater, buy a ticket for a random movie, and just sit down and watch it.
Absolutely, yes. If you need to go in with background knowledge, I feel like the work is not explaining itself very well to the audience.
Exactly. And I really didn't feel this way about this movie. I thought things were explained very well. It had the little cards at the bottom saying who everyone was. Did I recognize the names? No, but
I was kind of curious
nice.
why they... It was nice, I guess, because I guess these were all real people, or
Yeah.
are real people. They gave a name to everyone, the little title text for them. But after a little while, okay, I am not remembering who's who. There's the main guy, the gal, and a couple others. I didn't know anyone's name.
If I recall, not a lot of these people were seen more than once
Right.
either. So I feel like that was kind of like fan service
Maybe.
for the film buffs, you know? I mean, I'd heard of Godard before, but I don't think I've seen any of his movies. And then I knew who Gene Seberg was because there was the Kristen Stewart biopic a few years ago.
Okay.
But everyone else, pretty blank, honestly.
Absolutely.
So, a question I always have after I watch a new release. How is this going to do at the Oscars?
Ooh, I mean, this movie was entirely in black and white, if I recall correctly.
That's true.
And the
cinematography
Oscars
branch loves that.
love some black and white. They eat that up. Foreign language film, I guess, would that qualify? No? Okay.
Because every country can only submit one film. I don't even know if this would be classified as a French film since it was made by Linklater, who's American, for Netflix. I suppose. I would imagine they filmed in France. France has picked It Was Just an Accident to be their submission for foreign language film at the Oscars this year. And that movie won the Palme d'Or at the Cannes Film Festival. It was made by an Iranian filmmaker.
That's right, yeah.
And of course, Iran is not going to pick this movie that is critical of the government there.
Right.
So France is submitting this one because it was a co-production.
Okay.
Which, good for France. It seems like after the whole Anatomy of a Fall embarrassment of them not picking that movie, they seem to have gotten a little bit better with that. Like, they picked Emilia Perez last year, even though it wasn't in French. It was a French filmmaker, and it got all those Oscar nominations. However you felt about the movie, it worked.
And that movie gave us Messi, the Wonder Dog.
Oh, Anatomy of a Fall?
Anatomy of the Fall.
Yeah. Because honestly, if France had picked Anatomy of a Fall, it would have been a layup.
Absolutely.
They would have won, but The director said some things that the government didn't like and they didn't pick it. But that's okay because she won Best Writing and really showed them up. So
Hey, they deserved it.
absolutely, that's a great movie.
I found myself most of the time agreeing with, what was it, Gene Siebert was her name?
Gene Seberg.
I was agreeing with her character most of the time because from what I gathered, she was an established actor, a part of this project with not no name directors and writers and everything, and was understandably irate about the kind of lack of direction and I guess maybe the low budget atmosphere of work on Breathless that they were doing.
Yeah.
And I think a big vibe of the movie I was getting was trust the director, he's a genius. I can definitely understand how at the time this guy has no idea what he's doing was the mindset of a lot of people, which I feel like made it not boring to watch. I was very curious to see where the movie was going when the other shoe was going to drop. And I think what we got was a different ending than I thought the movie was going. But I appreciated the piece of history I think that was being portrayed. And
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like that was more or less a pretty accurate description of how that film was made.
Justice for that script supervisor, the continuity gal.
Oh, absolutely.
Like-
She was trying her best.
Justice for the continuity gal.
100%. She was trying to avoid another Starbucks cup in the Game of Thrones scene and was understandably just like, no, we can't do this. The director did not care.
Didn't care at all.
He
In
was the
fact,
villain of this movie, actually.
verbally abused her for even bringing it up and doing her job.
They are in the, 50s or 60s. So
You're right,
yeah.
1959.
Yep. Boiled down, would you say that, and you pronounce it
Nouvelle Vague.
Nouvelle Vague, would you say that is worth the hype or more of a what the hell? As in, what the hell was Richard Linklater thinking?
I'll give it a worth the hype. I think it was very well made. I think the acting was great. It looked good the whole time, and it wasn't too long, so it never felt meandering or boring. So I think that's cool that even though I've never seen the movie Breathless and don't know much about these people, I was still there and entertained. As much as I hated Godard in this, I was still entertained.
I agree. I do think it would be beneficial to watch the trailer for this movie before going in first to get an idea of kind of the vibe that they are going for. Because someone may be going in and not knowing what to expect could find this movie, if not off-putting, maybe a little meandering or boring. But if you appreciate, I mean, this movie really makes me want to watch Breathless then and learn more about Godard's filmography. So I think it really did its job. And I'm sure this is Linklater's favorite director or time period or style of film.
I'm sure Linklater would be very happy that this movie made you want to watch Breathless.
I think that's probably what he was going for. Yep.
I will say, I think I'm more excited for his other movie coming out this year, Blue Moon with Ethan Hawke. That's about the theater people, so a little bit more up my alley. But yeah, this one was good. I would say give it a shot.
Give it a thumbs up. Give it a shot. Go in with an open mind, and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. Okay, and then as far as Rotten Tomatoes goes, this has a 90% certified fresh.
Do you think it earned that score?
I would say so, and I understand why maybe in this circle that would get such a high score, because film critics, they probably are into film history. They probably like Breathless
Definitely.
and Godard, and all of this new wave.
That's what makes me think it may do a little buzz at the Oscars, because this is definitely a movie, like you said, that film critics and film buffs will love. I'd be curious to see what the audience score is in comparison to the critic score.
81%.
Okay.
I
would say that's more what I would give it.
I have a feeling audiences who aren't into this kind of stuff probably didn't even put the movie on.
See, I'm kind of dumb and not as cultured in movie history and just that whole environment as you are. So I would feel like I would take on my own, take a look at that movie and go, no thanks. But I am glad that I was able to sit down and watch it, because it has broadened my horizons.
Yeah, I would agree with that score. I'd say it's worth the hype.
I would say it's worth the hype as well.
All right, give us a quick intro into the lovely, lovely film we covered next.
Okay, so now we're kind of going back in time. We're starting in the year 1990. So I'm going off of the Wikipedia list that is 1990 in American film.
Okay.
I'm just going down the list. And if it has a certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, I'm watching it. I'm writing my thoughts down. I'm getting cultured.
Okay.
And the first movie on that list.
Oh boy. Trigger warning.
Yep. Was Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. I'd heard of this movie before, as far as people saying it's so disturbing and it almost didn't get distribution and all of that lovely, lovely stuff.
Right. As I recall, there was a big gap between when the movie was made and when it actually got U.S.
Distribution, is that correct?
Yeah, I believe it was made in like 86 and premiered at some film festivals, but then didn't get wider distribution until 1990. So that's what it's doing
Quite
here.
a big gap, yeah.
So this movie did really well at the Independent Spirit Awards.
Sure.
Which
I can
love
understand.
the Independent Spirit Awards. We've got Best Feature, Director, Writing, and then all three of those actors were nominated.
Okay.
Where do we start with Henry?
Who is playing Henry? Let's start with that.
Michael Rooker's playing Henry, and I'm mostly familiar with him from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Plays
and
a blue boy in there.
Yeah, and then he was in Walking Dead.
Okay.
He was, Daryl's brother?
That's right. I do not recall the name, but yeah, he shows up in things every once in a while.
Yeah.
A lot of supporting roles, I feel like, nowadays, but it was interesting to see him in, I guess, what you could call a leading role. And Henry is a bad boy. I'm gonna call the movie.
Yes, just a bad boy.
Trigger warning going in. If themes such as violence, a lot of
Assault against women.
assault against women, assault against humanity, one could say.
The dog didn't die.
I don't even remember the dog in here.
Oh, remember there was the lady who was like out walking
Oh,
the dog,
that's why she didn't
and
die,
He
yeah.
thought for a second maybe I should kill her, but he didn't. She had a cute dog. The dog did not die.
She had a purse dog that immediately sussed out Henry. If she had anything like bigger than a golden retriever, it would have either just run away in fear or tried to be Henry's best friend. But a little chihuahua or something, no, is going to get defensive and be loud immediately. Let's, I guess, start from the beginning. We can give a brief description of the where the movie takes us, I suppose. Starts with Henry. Well, we get a montage of, I think, the very beginning of the movie. No dialogue, anything yet. Just a montage of some of Henry's handiwork.
Yes. And from my understanding, they have based some of those stagings and instances on a real life serial killer, also named Henry, but he was known to be a liar, so who knows?
Okay, so this is loosely based on a real
Very
person.
loosely, because there was a serial killer named Henry and one named Otis, and they were buddies and
Okay.
went around and yeah.
Get a lovely introduction into a number of corpses, probably from our friend Henry. And really, the movie picks up where he is arriving in Chicago, I believe it is.
Yes, this
It's
movie's in Chicago.
I'm assuming it's just kind of present day from when the movie was filmed. It's the
I
mid
believe
80s.
so, yeah. Yeah, and he is going to stay with his buddy, Otis.
They had met in prison, if I recall, is the
Yes.
backstory.
It all really kicks off when Otis's sister, Becky, comes into town and wants to stay with them. And you're just sitting there saying, no, girl, don't do it.
I will say Becky was definitely my favorite character in this movie.
She was the only not rotten character here.
The entire time I'm going, sweetie, just use your head, get out of here. Read the room.
I think maybe some of the reason, like, why she didn't just get up and leave is because of the traumatic backstory she gives us.
Alternative title for this movie: Becky does not have a good time.
No, not a good time at all. And it seems like she's never had a good time.
Yes, she comes from a very rough background. Sounds like impoverished their whole life.
And then she mentions abused by her dad. Sounds like she has just gotten a divorce from an abusive husband.
She has a child, maybe a young daughter, with
Yes.
some name that I feel like you could only find in rural Mississippi.
Oh, it was
or
a
something.
terrible name.
It's like Luthiel or something like that. I think it's worse than that, actually. This gal, Becky, who just seems to be a young working mother, moving in with her, I believe it was her brother, Otis was her brother. Is that correct?
Yes, Otis is her brother, and right off the bat, he is being incredibly inappropriate with her.
Lots of lewd remarks, grossly over-sexualizing his sister, inappropriate grabbing. Not a great time, and Becky seems entirely used to it and expecting it.
Yeah, and then it sounds like from her backstory.
Becky seems to be our kind of introduction into the situations that these characters are currently in, because our view changes, I think, a little bit from her perspective a little bit to more Henry's perspective of his goings-ons. Would you say that's correct?
Yeah, I would say that Henry is our main perspective, but the arrival of Becky is almost like an inciting incident
Yes.
for the plot that we see. Google is telling me her daughter's name is never revealed, and that is a lie.
That is a flat-out lie.
It was like Luella, or like, it wasn't even that tame. It was a terrible name.
It was like Lutheran or something like that.
Lutheran.
Yeah. Lutheran was better, actually. So I think really the movie is just kind of a snapshot of the goings-on and process and inner thoughts of a serial killer. Very,
The title says it all, really.
I mean, it really does.
Well, and then when Becky first shows up and she's kind of talking about her life, you hear that she is now a single mother. She was probably a former, like, sex worker, danced at a adult
Yes.
club. And those things seem to be triggers for Henry. He's looking at women kind of like he looked at his mother. And so you hear those things and you're like, oh no, he's gonna kill her immediately.
Right.
But then he ends up relating to her more.
Yes, unexpectedly. You think Becky's going to be the first victim. Spoilers, she makes it longer than you think.
Like I said, no one has a good time in this movie.
No one has a good time. But then, of course, you hear that Henry, like, killed his mother, most likely because she was abusing him.
Even that was made unclear. They
It
established
was.
early on Henry is an unreliable narrator. It's Henry and Otis know each other from prison, so that's why they're living together now. And Otis is talking about how Henry had, I think, attacked his mother with a baseball bat, something like that. Immediately later, talking about it, switching up details are conflicting.
Yeah,
and
Henry
changing.
switches to a gun and then to stabbing. And honestly, I think that goes to show that there's really no reason to do anything like this. This guy is just a psychopath, and he views other people, especially women, as just disposable. I was honestly surprised when he ended up killing someone with Otis. Because I viewed him as very, like, cold and calculated, and he has a system and a way for doing things. And Otis, right off the bat, his character is spontaneous and unreliable and honestly doesn't seem like the sharpest tool in the shed.
Not at all. You can pretty much guess what this guy is like immediately when you see how he treats his sister at the beginning of the movie. He's not going to get any better.
No, he only gets worse.
For a little while, we see Otis interacting with his, I believe, parole officer.
We do.
For a while there, I was thinking the police investigation or some sort of police investigation was going to be a factor in this story. And boy, was I wrong.
Yeah, his parole officer was just kind of like, well, I gotta go do something with my kids. See ya.
These cops did not do anything. As far as I know, they didn't know a serial killer was going around at all.
Exactly. Just another day.
Just another day. But yes, it is. We see the lovely foray of Otis and Henry teaming up to have a fun couple murders around Chicago. And I mean, they have a great time.
They certainly do have a great time until, of course, Otis kind of starts going against Henry's wishes and plans. He's doing very disgusting things. Not that this whole thing isn't disgusting.
Again, another alternative title, Very Disgusting Things. In Chicago.
It's like he's not being very careful. And that upsets Henry. And I think you even see that when they're going around with their video camera. And they're in the car and part of the camera breaks off. And so Otis just throws the camera out the window. And Henry's the one who's like, you didn't even check to see if we could fix that.
He's upset by that, yeah. It's one of the first rifts you start seeing in their relationship, which would up to that point was very productive. They're just going around killing in Chicago. They're breaking into homes, tying people up, and stopping people on the highway and shooting them. It really portrays this is just what Henry does. This is who he is, and it's really him introducing Otis into this world.
Yeah, of course we did see Otis was very capable of some not great things just before that in the way he was treating his sister, and
boy did he like hanging out at the high school football field,
selling drugs to teenage boys
and just kind of watching them,
trying to grope them. Yeah.
And I think the big shift or the big turn in our movies when the Otis Henry relationship comes apart. For me, the worst part of this movie is when we start to see that happening, because it's the inciting incident with Otis and his sister and his gross comings-ons to her that really he attempts to, is in the middle of assaulting her, that Henry walks in and the situation just devolves from there.
Well, because this is brought about by Becky is about to leave. She did kind of get some sense and say, you know what, I'm out of here.
These guys may not be good for my health.
But of course, she kind of has a thing for Henry. She asked him to go with her, and of course, he doesn't know how to handle that, so he pulls the I gotta go out for a pack of cigs, leaving her alone.
I gotta do a couple murders, clear my head.
Leaving her alone with her, like, pretty drunk brother. And the second he did that, I was like, no. We all know
we know what he's about to do
now. And that is exactly what happened.
And first, the whole movie, Becky has a crush on Henry. and it really reminded me of a Padme Anakin situation where she's listening to how her brother described how, yeah, he was in jail for killing his mom, describing how he did it. And she immediately is giving him big starry eyes. Mm-hmm. Girl, world treated you rough.
Yeah, absolutely. Justice for Becky.
Justice for Becky. Justice for Luther, her 5-year-old daughter, who never had a chance.
We have this fight that ensues when Henry comes in. He doesn't like this killing. He's not happy about it.
It definitely lets you use your imagination as far as the motivations and thought process of Henry, which I will give this movie credit for. It does make you think. It's trying to figure out why are these horrible situations happening, but I think let's say the Jaime and Cersei Lannisteriness of all that situation, he finds that disgusting and definitely rejects all of Otis's advances on his sister. He sees himself, or he ends up being sort of her protector in some situations.
He seems to just really have this problem with familial abuse.
Yes.
Maybe because some of his backstory is true, but again, who knows? Unreliable narrator. But I think of that scene where Otis grabs Becky and then Henry just kind of like smacks him and is like, that's your sister.
Absolutely.
That's how he's viewing Becky in those moments, not as another woman who he might have been okay with killing.
Yes, without a second thought.
Yeah, but no, that's your sister. Like, what are you doing?
It definitely strikes me as an opportunistic serial killer, that being Henry. He doesn't seem to... He cruises around looking for victims instead of planning things out. I think the home invasion that we see midway through the movie where they tie up family members, and part of that is being videotaped, is the most kind of a forethought going into it. But definitely Henry is a damaged individual and troubled to say the least.
One thing that I thought was really cool about this movie, just thinking about that like end fight scene with Becky and Otis and Henry, all of the like blood and gore and everything here, it reminded me of a giallo horror movie. That kind of film style where the blood kind of looks like paint.
It's an effects style, really.
Yeah, it's like a type of B movie, but that's kind of how the effects look there. Like the original Suspiria. That's
a
the
good
first
comparison.
one I think of when like, oh, all that blood, it looks like just bright red paint. There was the scene when she's like poking his eyeball.
Yes,
and you can really see
when Henry
the
comes
paper
in,
mache almost that they used.
he stops the assault, Otis from assaulting his sister, pulls him off. Everyone starts fighting. Then Becky grabs, I think it was her comb. With the end, she was ready to go. She had that end filed down to a shank, jabs her Otis right in the eye. And, you go, girl. They keep stabbing Otis. Henry, I think he's like, no, I got this. I know what to do. Stabs Otis. He's dead. Becky's obviously shaking and freaking out. And Henry just kind of looked annoyed for the most part.
Well, yeah, and then he goes and like cuts his head off in the bathtub.
Becky's going, what should we do? Let's call the police. Yeah, girl. And he immediately goes, no, I got this. Takes him to the bathtub and you just hear the sawing and the crunching. You're like, oh, That made me squirm a little bit.
Yeah, and then they leave after that because Henry had to leave anyway because that's just what he does after he commits enough murders.
There was the little scene, him just taking the little trash bags and throwing them off the bridge. I'm like, okay, that's all Otis.
Well, they just left the apartment there. I am sure
That cleaner's gonna have a bad day.
their parole officers have to know where they live. Whoever owns that apartment has to know who's on the lease. No way was there no blood left in there. And then they left the videotape of them committing the crime against the family in the TV.
I have to imagine one of your duties as a parole officer is to make sure the parolee does not serial killing, so he's getting fired.
Absolutely. He was not good at his job at all.
It's the 80s. What can you do?
They could have at least, I don't know, drug tested that man. I don't think Otis should have been drinking alcohol. That's for sure.
He was pounding. He had beer in hand the entire movie. Back to what you said earlier. Yes, a lot of the background and conversations we hear from Henry is him describing how he travels. He goes from place to place, not staying in one location for very long to kind of hide his activities, it seems like.
Yeah.
At no point in the movie, well, semi-spoiler alert, there's no police activity any more than Otis checking in with his parole officer. I mean, that didn't even do anything for the plot as far as I can tell, other than showing that they had been in prison.
Yeah, I think for me that just showed how bad the system is.
How
if
easy a
it's not
serial killer
working.
could get away with things back in the mid 80s. Absolutely.
Yeah, because the parole officer was very flippant and was like, I gotta go early. That okay with you? See you in 3 weeks or something. Henry and Becky, they drive off into the sunset.
She's going on about how she's in love with him. First of all, girl, this is probably the fourth time you've ever spoken to him. Also, it's been what? I mean, I got the impression this movie took place over the course of maybe a month.
Yeah, something like that.
Where she's finding these feelings for him, other than I'm sure her character had never encountered anyone who treated her, especially a male figure, who treated her well.
Yeah.
And she's just latching on to the first person. It's ignoring all the giant red flags in front of her and saying he will take care of me or protect me.
Yeah, because he's essentially saying to her, don't worry, I'll take you out to my sister's place in California with the horses. We'll bring your daughter there and live happily ever after. Now, we know good and well there's no sister in California. Now, Henry does say to her, I love you too, I guess, but I don't think this man is capable of love.
Absolutely. Again, she, I think, has this is the first man who's shown me any positive attention, so I of course love him. Almost like a first crush sort of situation. Yeah. Again, I don't know how old the character Becky was supposed to be, but or 20s, something like that. And yes, Henry just does not know how to respond to any of this. He's a sociopath for sure. He gets, I guess, angry, but I wouldn't say he is physically violent or well,
he's not physically violent.
He is not, the serial killing aside, he is not loud and angry compared to Otis. He's a big contrast to Otis. I will designate all these serial killing as, in fact, violence. Sorry.
He's the silent type.
Yes.
So then when he does get angry and yell, it's kind of more jarring. But yeah, the movie ends with Henry tossing another suitcase after him and Becky go to a hotel room, and there's no Becky in sight, so, she's in that suitcase.
Well, it is covered in blood. I'm going to say headcanon. That could have been anyone's blood. He didn't like the room service, so they really got it, and Becky was just left asleep at the motel, wondering about her lost love.
I believe Michael Rooker was asked about this a few years ago, and he said, yeah, that was Becky in the suitcase.
Well,
so
you know what? That can be your truth, sir.
I did think it was very funny that it seemed like that ending was shown as up for interpretation for a lot of people, because I think it is
It's very
very
clear. No, all kidding aside, that's Becky in the
Yeah.
in the suitcase. Sorry, girl. You never had a chance.
No, justice for Becky.
This is a disturbing, creepy movie. There's no jump scares, anything like that. If you get squeamish with lots of blood and gory details, this may not be the movie for you. But if you're looking for, again, that creep factor, if you're looking like this movie was weird and disturbing,
In my
give it a
write-up,
shot.
I referred to it as a feel-bad movie.
It's a feel bad movie, 100%. And you know what? Sometimes those are needed.
As far as Rotten Tomatoes goes, this has an 89% certified fresh.
Okay.
And, you know, as far as our, is it worth the hype or what the hell? I would say it's worth the hype. I don't know if I would watch this movie again, but I thought it was interesting, and I think it did what it set out to do. I thought the acting was really good. Effects were good.
Oh, fantastic.
Thought the sound design really added to the creep factor.
Yes, a lot of squishing and squelching with the gore and blood effects.
And then there's the screaming kind of
Yes.
muffled in the background.
It's a pretty brutal movie.
Very.
So just be prepared for that. If you know what you're getting yourself into, I would say that is worth the hype. I would give a similar score as well. I would even say that's worth a rewatch at some point just to really dissect the movie even further.
Yeah. Yeah, because there is a lot to dissect.
There's a lot
here.
to unpack.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Well, that is Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. Can't wait for the sequel.
There was a sequel
Oh, no.
with none of the same actors.
Oh, great. That's how you know it's going to be fantastic. I'd
Absolutely.
like to see we'll do a follow-up episode on the sequel. That will be our hate watch of the month.
All right, so the next movie that we have from 1990 is Tremors.
Tremors. What a ride. What a film.
And Tremors was a lot more fun than Henry.
This was my second time watching Tremors, and yes, if you need a feel-good movie, Tremors is a fun experience. I would say you have an idea of the kind of story you're getting into. It's lots of, I think, all practical effects.
Yes, yeah. The effects were phenomenal. It was like
that.
puppets.
Light comedy, I would say.
Yeah.
Reba McEntire is in the movie for some reason, and we'll talk about later my favorite part of the whole movie. She is unhinged.
Tremors is a fun time. I would say Tremors is a campy cult classic.
I agree.
I enjoyed Tremors. I feel like it would be hard to watch Tremors and not smile or
I agree.
enjoy something about it.
This was a movie that I did not remember anything about the first time. After the first time I watched it, I found it kind of more middling. On a rewatch, honestly, it's a lot of fun. It's a fun, just kind of theme park style. You just go for the ride. Great acting, and we get our dose of Kevin Bacon.
Kevin Bacon thought this movie was going to ruin his career, and I love that. He's come around to it.
Because this spawned a whole series, didn't it?
It did.
Probably
There's-
direct to DVD movies.
Yeah, there's, I think, like 5 at least with the other guy. Kevin
'Cause he
Bacon
never
is
comes
not
back.
in the sequels. And his name was Valentine.
Valentine.
He wore a little heart on his belt buckle.
Oh, he was so sassy. Yeah. Valentine and Earl.
And they're like handymen, it seems.
In
They're
the most depressing town in, I believe, Nevada.
Perfection,
The sign
Nevada.
literally says population 14.
And I think we see all 14 of those people.
I think we do actually, yes.
And they're finally getting out. They're done with their jobs. They're getting out of here.
It looks like Val and Earl are poor handymen just trying to make their way through life and have decided to get the heck out of perfection.
Before they leave, they meet a girl. Her name is Rhonda. She's a student. She's very smart. She's doing like anthropology, seismology stuff like that.
Yes, she's doing like seismology or seismographic studies on the area, runs up to say hi to our boys, and has a big old smearing of sunscreen on her nose, and honestly took me right out of the movie. I could not focus on anything else.
Well, and then she touches her nose and like sees, oh, some sunscreen, and then never rubs it in. But Kevin Bacon and Earl, they were really hoping it was gonna be like Pamela Anderson or something.
Yes.
And then they act like this very beautiful woman who walks over is some hideous, ugly freak. They're like disappointed because she has brown hair and some smudged sunscreen.
Same reaction for me, honestly. I'm like, no, get it off. I hate feeling sunscreen on me, so no, I agree with it. Now she was it a grad student, I believe?
Yes. So they meet her, and then they go back to the town. You kind of get to see all the townspeople.
You get our roster, yeah.
Yeah, there's the shopkeeper, the annoying kid who keeps playing the pranks.
He had a punchable face,
Reba
I would say. I was hoping he was going to get eaten.
Yeah, Reba McEntire and her husband are like doomsday preppers.
Yes, I did not get that at first. I just thought they were kooky country folk, and the reveal later had me laughing pretty hard.
They're leaving town and they see this guy and he's dead.
They see their neighbor dangling from a power line or one of the big pylons he's climbed up it, going, oh, he's drunk again. Wild thing to do. If you were drinking, let's climb the tallest thing near me. And,
I think these men thought that was a drunk thing to do because they knew from experience.
Well, Kevin Bacon starts climbing right up it. It's like, let me get him down. They must do this a lot, yeah.
Well, and then they find out he died of thirst. That's weird.
Yeah, they find him dead on the pylon. Died of dehydration, just sitting there with his gun for several days, I believe they said.
Yeah, 3 days or something
Wild.
like that. But
3 hours, I'm just jumping off. I don't care.
Then we learn he was hiding from the sandworms.
I think the name they give him is what in the movie Snakeoids. But yes, the entire time I'm thinking sandworms from Dune. Kevin Bacon is Lisan Al-Gaib.
Absolutely. Well, and then these little sandworms, they are done really well.
I love the effects. Yeah, they are gross and creepy looking.
Yeah, they're like puppets, but then they're almost like wet and like gooey sometimes, because we do learn the little sandworms are almost like the tongues of a larger sandworm.
Yes, you start seeing these little, to me they look like gross little eels coming out of the dirt. I mean, I would say almost kind of like dog-sized parasite things coming out, and thinking those are going to be the main threat. Oh no.
Yeah. I really liked how they moved. They moved around like a snake, which I find snakes unsettling.
I agree.
I thought that movement was really good. I really liked the camera effects where we were almost in like a POV of the sandworms.
Yes.
Like, there was one point when it like tilted up.
Yes,
Like-
you're seeing the perspective of the sandworm going through the dirt, like as it's making its tunnel or anything like that, I think. And then it's popping out of the ground with that camera turn. It was well done. All the practical effects, when they start hitting and stabbing and shooting the sandworms, you start seeing the like splattering effects all over the place. It was creative, really lent just the overall vibe of the movie, I'd say.
Yeah.
Folks keep getting picked off by the sandworms. One guy they ate up his sheep, which, number one, why did you have so many giant fluffy sheep in the middle of the desert in Nevada? They ain't having a good time. He gets the worst fate. I thought he just got sucked down to the ground.
That's true.
And our main characters stumble onto his farm and you see his face popping up from the ground like a little gopher. So the sandworms start picking off all these lowly townsfolk living on their farms and stuff. This does not look like a pleasant place to live. Do not go to
No.
perfection.
No, not at all.
I do understand while our boys are trying to get out. Poor sheepies did not stand a chance. We discovered the remains of this farmer and the livestock and everything. And this gets into what what a review I see of this movie a lot of times. I'll see the characters are not... They're not stupid. They make pretty logical decisions based on what they're seeing. So pretty early on, Val and Earl realize, oh, something bad is happening. There's like something killing people. We need to... They go back to town, alert people. No one makes really dumb decisions.
Yeah.
Which I appreciate.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the part where they were out with Rhonda trying to figure all this out, and they realize they can't jump. We need to get up high. And then if we touch the sand, they're essentially playing the floor as lava.
They are, yes. If we touch the sand, we're going to get eaten.
Yeah, and so they decide we gotta pole vault our way.
Yes. How do we get from
here.
rock to rock? Here's these big metal poles laying next to it because there's trash everywhere in this town. It is not nice.
I would have fallen immediately.
You would have
I would
slid
have gotten
right down the
eaten.
pole. I would just stay on the rock.
And then die of thirst.
Well,
That was the big concern for everyone, was dying of thirst.
I mean, it's got to rain eventually.
That's what we see a lot throughout this movie, is just these townspeople trying to not touch the ground.
Yeah.
They're like trying to get on the roof.
I appreciate with this monster movie, they get into it, the monster really being the main threat pretty early on in the movie. It's chasing them like throughout, I'd say, a good 3/4 of it.
And then for as silly as the movie was, it was still really good at building suspense. There was the part when they were looking for the little girl. And she's been on like this pogo stick the whole time. So she's just bouncing
along.
on the pogo stick. And every time she hits the ground, it's just like, the sandworms.
Every time you hear the vibration and the sandworms are like, she's close.
Yeah.
I agree. I would say I appreciated the physicality in this movie. These stuntmen had a time. They really went all in with the sets and how the characters interacted with the sets. I liked when our townsfolk and main characters have kind of retreated to the I think it was the main market store, or
Yeah.
it's the liquor store for one. And the sandworms start coming up through the floor, and everyone then starts climbing on top of the register and the shelves, start climbing and jumping from shelf to shelf, making their way up to the roof. I thought that was a cool detail that showed the struggle endured throughout this movie. It didn't cut from one scene to another. It really laid out the journey, I suppose.
Yeah, I agree, because for the rest of the movie, we're essentially just seeing this group of people try to not get
Trying to
eaten.
survive.
Yeah, which brings us to, of course, your favorite part of the movie.
Oh boy. Yes, so we're getting to... Everyone has been isolated by the creatures. They have either been eaten or they are...
They're on like separate roofs.
Yes, we've got survivors in 3 or 4 different buildings, I
Yeah.
think. So they're climbing up. Everyone's climbed up from the market shelves up to the roof. And... as I say, the roof. I did like how, as the sandworms are attacking the market specifically, they showed the deterioration of the set. The building starts collapsing in as it's getting hit more and more. The center of the roof where they're at starts caving in. They're having to climb out of that a few times.
Such a cool practical effect.
And it cuts to... I don't remember her character's name. She's just Reba McEntire.
Reba McEntire, that's fine.
I'm surprised she did not try to fight them with either a guitar or singing at them. No, she was great. It's her and her husband are these doomsday preppers. So they've gone down to their bunker where they're making their bullets and everything for their guns. The sandworm starts coming through the basement walls. They grab a gun each and start laying into the sandworm as it's coming through the wall and go, crap, we're out of ammo. Turn around to the biggest wall of guns I've ever seen in my life, all loaded, ready to go. Improper gun storage, yes. Cool as hell, absolutely. I had a blast.
Because they definitely need all those guns in a town where the population is 14.
At one point, Reba McEntire is dual-wielding pistols, just blasting away at this
Phenomenal.
thing. Again, going back to, they had competent and characters that made good decisions.
Exactly.
They were ready to go. They were adaptable.
They were able to kill one of them, but there were like 3 more or something.
Oh yeah, Mr. Reba, he grabs the elephant gun from their special glass gun case, the one on display, the big hand cannon, blows the first worm apart, and I think prior to that, one of the worms had died chasing Mr. Valentine. He jumps over, I think, like a sewer grate or like a cauldron, something like that, a causeway. The worms are squishy. If they bust through and hit something hard, they're just going to go splat.
But yeah, everyone kind of ends up getting away from the roofs. I think they're trying to get to another town.
Yeah, they're trying to get up to like the rocks and the mountains, and they can go on to the next town.
Yes, they get into the Doomsday Prepper's truck.
Mm-hmm.
He's trying to bring his guns, figure out what needs to go.
Oh yeah, as they're evacuating their home, these people are packing pipe bombs just in case.
Just in case.
Have those ready to go, which come in handy in a little bit. Our escape plan is they use the old town bulldozer, I think. Mm-hmm. A big old construction size like bulldozer, start doing that to pull a trailer, I believe. All the townsfolk crowd in that, and they make it part way out before they get waylaid.
They do, because the worms, they are like adapting and learning. They're getting smarter.
Predator.
Exactly. They start to pick up on what these people are doing. And I think that is really effective.
I agree.
It adds to the tension.
For the more lighthearted and comedic moments, and it was kind of like a whimsical movie at some points, but I do like that the worms felt like an actual threat.
Yes,
throughout
absolutely.
the film. They could get killed, but not easily, and they're coming after you the whole time. Mm-hmm. No, that was great. I liked every time, like I mentioned before, one guy I think takes a pickaxe and just hooks it right into the worm. Big old gush spray. They made it look gross and interesting and just kind of alien looking all at once. I'm guessing it was a puppeteer.
The puppeteers.
They did a great job.
So good. I feel like if a movie like this were made today, it would not have as many practical effects, or like they would CGI over it.
A CGI version of Tremors would look ridiculous.
Yeah.
It would not work at all. Part of the reason this movie is so good is because it's all practical.
Exactly. Like, that's where the charm of the movie is. They better never remake Tremors.
I hope not. I would be curious to see the sequels and see how much. I'm going to doubt we will like them as much.
I'm sure the budget went down.
Who knows? And our grand finale really is our heroes and townsfolk get kind of trapped on rocks again, but they're fighting back. They've got a big supply of pipe bombs thanks to Reba. And so they're just kind of blasting away, and then I think our boys come up with a plan.
Yeah, their plan is to run the sandworms off the mountain.
They, I think, are trying to...
The sandworms can tell where they are based on like their movements and like their vibrations, I guess, in the ground.
That's right. So they're trying to set up a trap with one of the bombs, I think. Saying,
a decoy on the side of the mountain.
We'll blow it up, trying to get it to eat a pipe bomb.
And Kevin Bacon's almost playing chicken with it.
He is. He's outrunning this thing that can just tunnel through the earth as quick as it can. But I did actually like the little callback to the beginning of the movie, where the movie opens with Kevin Bacon just pissing off the side of a canyon wall near some cows. So I guess they're probably ranchers or something as well. And then when he's waking up his brother yelling stampede, had that tie right back into how they dispatched the last worm. I thought that was neat because they knock out 2 of the worms just by having them run into things. Can't see where they're going. So the last worm tunnels through accidentally off the cliff face and just falls down and splats.
Exactly. And great plan. It worked.
It worked.
No one died of thirst after that.
It's true. It's goofy at times. Our characters, they knew what they were doing. It worked out.
Exactly. And then, of course, at the end, Kevin Bacon realizes, wait, Rhonda is actually attractive. and I want to be with her, even though she's not blonde.
It's the same thing where, oh, we just put glasses on Anne Hathaway and put her hair up. Look at this ugly girl.
Exactly. It's like, no.
Well, like, what are you talking about?
On no planet is that woman ugly.
That wraps up Tremors.
Yeah, Tremors.
It's a fun ride. I really did not get bored at any point during this movie. It's funny and gross. And again, I really like the stunts and the sets in this movie.
Yeah, it was a great little fun watch.
Under 2 hours.
You could put it
I'll take
on
it.
with your friends and laugh and have
It's
a
a good
fun
popcorn
time.
movie.
Yeah, absolutely. And its Rotten Tomatoes score, 88%.
Worth the hype. I'd almost give that a 90. Yeah, Tremors is a good time.
I agree. Worth the hype as well. I can't think of a single reason why I would dislike Tremors.
I agree.
It's just fun, especially after watching Henry. It's just fun.
It is a good palate cleanse after Henry. Tremors, if there's one thing I'd say about it, don't take it too seriously.
Yeah.
Just watch it along and have fun.
Yeah.
You do that, you're going to have a great time. It's worth the hype to me.
Worth the hype, absolutely. It's not a movie that you're going to walk into and be scared.
Exactly.
It's not that kind of like horror movie.
If you're squeamish with gore effects, just, be aware there's some, but I wouldn't say it is anything too disturbing.
No, it's a PG-13
It's a monster movie.
Yeah.
With practical effects. If you know that and are fine with all that, you're going to have a good time.
Yeah, if you want to see some great puppets.
Absolutely. Did a great work and made a memorable creature as well.
Absolutely.
We might just have to do a series on the Tremor sequels.
Our next movie was Cinema Paradiso, which won the Oscar for Best Foreign Language Film. It's an Italian movie.
It is an Italian, I guess, coming of age story.
Yeah.
Romance movie. Would you say that's accurate?
I would say romance is definitely a big part of it. I think this movie is about passion. It's this kid with this big passion for film. And then you get to see him meet his first love, maybe only love.
Apparently, we'll get into that. Yeah, it's after World War II in, I think, Sicily is where we're starting out with our character, the adorable, sassy little Italian boy who's
Toto.
Yes,
Well,
Salvatore.
We actually he's an adult, and his
Oh,
mom
that's right.
calls him and says Alfredo's dead. And his girlfriend or whoever's with him is like, who's that? And he's like, no one. I've got to go, essentially.
Yes, the impression is he got up and left Sicily or wherever his family was at and has not been back anytime since. It's been decades.
Exactly. And then that brings us to the flashback and starting with his love of film with, yes, the adorable little Toto. That kid won a BAFTA for this performance.
I'm glad.
And he deserved it.
The entire first half of this movie is this little boy getting his ass handed to him by every adult in this town. He's just running around causing trouble, and they just keep smacking him around for everything. His mom just lays into him. He just picks himself up, goes, all right, going back to the theater.
Yeah. Yeah, there's like the one movie theater, the Cinema Paradiso in their town. And one of the earlier scenes is him looking up at the screen because it seems like he's maybe an altar boy or something. He's going with his priest who is pre-screening these movies to essentially censor out any like kissing or anything that he deems not religious enough.
Any romantic gestures, yes.
And you just see this little boy peeking behind the curtains, and he has this look on his face like this is the most magical, amazing thing I've ever seen. And I feel like anyone who is really into film
You'll love this movie.
will, yeah, and really kind of relate to that feeling.
If you like going to the movie theater, if you like movies made especially on film, this will be a fun time for you.
Absolutely. Which is good because this movie is almost 3 hours long.
Yes, it is a long ride. Quite a lot happens.
We see this little boy and this whole town through 3 stages of life as a child, a teenager, and an adult. You see him as a child really start to build this bond with Alfredo.
The projectionist at the movie theater.
Exactly. And it feels like Alfredo hates Toto at first, but then they develop this fondness for each other because I think maybe in this town they see the other as the one person who understands this thing that they
both have
love.
a great love of film, yes.
And it's really cool to see that mentorship progress. Alfredo, he really always has Toto's best interest in mind, even if that means he does things that are morally gray.
I would say he becomes this father figure for little Toto, whose dad, I believe, is shown. I think he was a prisoner of war that just never came home.
Yeah.
Something like that.
He's in Russia.
The home situation's not great.
No.
Then it's his mom and then little sister, who we don't really think we'll show too much of the sister over
Not
the course
really.
of the movie. I was interested to see more of that, given it was 3 hours long. We see the relationship between Salvatore and what was his name, Alfredo?
Yes.
That turned into a budding relationship, and I think we do, as his relationship with the movie theater develops, or his time at the movie theater, we skip a couple years into him being a teenager.
Through that time, we really see how the movie theater can be this communal place. It's like the Nicole Kidman AMC.
I will say, we both would have hated going to this specific theater. These guys were yelling and screaming at the movies all the time.
They're spitting, they're throwing things.
This one guy, I don't think they showed anything more to his backstory other than every time he'd go to the movies, he'd yell and laugh down at the poorer folks below him and spit on them. It was this thing.
And then there was, of course, your favorite character.
Oh, Mad Max.
Mad Max.
Mad Max was the name of the character I gave to.
It seemed to be a man who just maybe lived in the square.
He's the
where
town
the cinema
homeless guy,
was.
and he's crazy, and he has claimed the town square as his domain, and he will fight anyone who enters. He chases our main character, I believe, at least once, and he just keeps showing up throughout the story.
Get out of my square.
He's constantly just like yelling to both himself and to anyone nearby, "Get out of my square, it's mine." He is crawling over the statues in the square or just sleeping wherever he wants. I loved him. He was my focus in this movie. I didn't care about the main character at all. After he started growing up, like, meh.
I did think this movie had a bit of what I'm going to call it syndrome.
Oh, yes.
Which is where the kids are really interesting and dynamic.
That's
but then
exactly
when
it.
they get a little older, it's like, I don't care as much now because I've fallen in love with this child portrayal of this character.
Yeah, starry-eyed optimism. It was great.
Exactly. And then once they're a little bit older, it's like, oh, I'm just not as interested.
Because then immediately, or soon after, our little Toto gets, I believe, conscripted into the military.
Yeah, when he's a teenager.
He's told he is in some sort of place where he only has to serve for, I think he believes, 10 days.
Yeah, because his dad
that's right.
went missing essentially in his service.
He's got that military service history in his family, so he only has to serve 10 days, and he keeps telling them that.
Mm-hmm. And they just don't care.
Cuts to a year later, he's muttering to himself, it should have been 10 days.
Yeah.
I would be pissed.
Absolutely. And he is...
I wouldn't come back either.
No. And he meets this girl Honestly, I don't think we see them talking that much.
No.
He just kind of sees her and is like, I'm in love with her.
Yeah, before he goes off to the military, I believe they were classmates, right? They're going to the same school.
I believe so, yeah.
And he's just really awkward around her until he pulls his little stunt at the church confessional, I believe. Little Toto sneaks in and starts giving confessionals to town elderly who are coming by, and then just to be a creep and snoop on what his crush's confessions are about to be. But I think she hears him right away.
Yeah, and they kind of...
Toto's a little freak.
He is, but it kind of turns into, I guess, a cute little moment.
Finally, ones are over.
He does. But then her dad really doesn't like him.
I think they kind of are unclear about, like, her family keeps moving around, or they don't know where she's supposed to go, or something like that.
Yeah, I would think maybe they don't like him because he's essentially going to be the town projectionist, and they're like,
right.
That's not gonna make a lot of money.
Alfredo is the whole time going, don't do this for a living. Just, I like that you love film, but don't do this.
Oh, and then by this point, Alfredo is now blind.
Oh yeah,
because him and Child Toto
the
weren't
climax
watching.
of the first part.
They weren't watching the film.
I guess the cameras
caught on fire.
explode sometimes, and the film is very flammable.
Because I didn't know this, but being a projectionist in that time with that technology was a very skilled profession.
Oh, absolutely.
You have to know a lot to be able to deal with actual film. Like, anyone who can do that, kudos.
100%. It was a skill. Oh, it was the night where the town wanted to keep watching some movie, but I think they couldn't, or it was under curfew or something like that. But Alfredo starts projecting out the theater window onto a wall of a building of a movie so the people can keep watching
And
it.
you just get to see this lovely experience of a community experiencing this movie together.
That was, I think, the main theme I was getting for this movie. Just love of film, how it can bring people together.
Yeah.
And that shared community experience, like you said. But while all that's going on, they're not watching the camera, they're watching the movie, and the camera just sort of catches on fire. That happens with the film. Fredo, he tries to put it out, but the camera just pops right in his face, and he catches them flames.
And Toto is trying to get him out of there. So essentially saving his life, but he's now blind.
Props to this kid, this little 5-year-old dragged like a 200.
A little older than 5.
This 50-pound 5-year-old is dragging this 200+ pound man down a spiral staircase. Gets him out all on his own, but Fredo has caught some flames to his eyes. A little bit later in the movie, when he's like sick in bed, and his wife goes trying to convince him to, I think, not let Toto stay in the town, something like that, or his relationship in some capacity. So she goes to him and says, "You need to open your eyes." Girl, he doesn't have any. They're melted.
So teenage Toto, he's kind of trying to figure out what he wants to do with his life. He wants to be with this girl. He wants to make movies.
He's working as the projectionist now, I think kind of full-time almost.
But then the girl moves and he misses her.
He does not take it well.
And he has no way of getting in touch with her. And I think that's when he goes to the military. He gets sent to the military
right at
after
his
that.
lowest.
So he's
All
just
right.
not having a good time at all.
He's brokenhearted, and then he's like, "Oh, all right, well, at least I only have to endure this military service for 10 days. Cut to a year later.
Well, and then he's getting all of his letters to her
yeah.
returned back to him while he's sitting in this just dour-looking room.
Yeah, she drops off the face of the earth as far as he's aware, and I think he comes out of the military a bit of a different person.
He does, for sure. He is a lot more jaded. And then he takes a chance and he leaves, and that is really pushed by Alfredo, who says,
Yes.
You do not come back here. No matter what, don't come back. Because he wants Toto to live this extraordinary life and go and do what he wants to do. And I think he knows that if Toto comes back, he's just going to stay and be the projectionist, which I think would have made Toto happy. But as we can see, he had a lot of potential. He seems to be a famous filmmaker in his adult timeline.
Alfredo, I believe, sees his potential and knows you got to get out of this town because there's just not the opportunities that you deserve to have.
He's still willing to push Toto in that direction, even though it means he'll never see him again.
He even says, don't contact me. You can't let this town tie you down or anyone in it. Just cut ties and don't come back. It was a hard conversation for him, yeah.
Yeah, but I think definitely a valid and pretty relatable thing, actually.
Yeah.
So then fast forward, he's older now. He's like a full grown man. He doesn't seem to have a wife or kids or anything, but he was waking up in bed with some woman at the beginning of the movie.
Right. I think it's implied that he just has a revolving door of girlfriends and is not very settled in his life.
Because this grown-ass man never got over his first girlfriend when he was a teenager.
It's been 40 years. He's still hung up going on, I've never loved anyone else. Bro, it was your first summer crush when you were about 15.
Yeah.
If anything, this movie was a cautionary tale.
Like, you have to let these things go.
I know your first crush always seems special, but technically he did get with the local theater prostitute first, so
that is
I
true.
like to think he was just hung up. There's a random sex scene where he's just going at it with her on the theater floor. Nothing more is shown. It just cuts right back onto now I'm going back to school.
This is the second coming-of-age Italian movie that I've seen with something like that going down.
I guess, man, they're crazy in Italy. Wow. My school experience was not like that.
No, mine either. Toto does end up going back home for Alfredo's funeral.
Yes, yeah.
And he sees his mom and his sister. And then, of course, he sees this girl who looks just like his first love.
Way to nail home the creepiness factor by having, I believe it's his love interest's like now daughter who looks exactly like her, and he immediately is shown he's never gotten over her.
Yeah, and then he goes and finds his love interest.
He starts stalking her.
Yeah.
He's in a phone booth outside her window calling her repeatedly. I believe she doesn't answer the first couple of times, like, who is this? And finally they reunite.
Yeah, and she's like, I'm married with a kid.
It's been decades. Like, I don't remember you.
He ends up still trying to get with this woman.
Oh, yes. They start talking about their last meeting and when they missed each other, and it was just, oh, sorry, I was running late. And so he starts regretting his entire life now.
Well, and then she was convinced by Alfredo not to contact him and keep him there. And he said, I'll give him your message if you want, but don't do that because he needs to go and do his own thing. Which is honestly very healthy. Like, you probably shouldn't just be hung up on the one person you had a crush on when you were 16. The vast majority of the time, you do not end up with who you were with when you were 16.
I appreciate that my boy Fredo was immediately clocking, oh, he is way too passionate about this right now. I need to break this up.
And then she leaves a note for him that he, of course, never saw.
No.
Because he covered it up.
Until modern day, when he's shuffling through the ruins of the movie theater.
He goes back to try to find the note as if it's still gonna be there.
Right.
Like, everything is dusty. These notes are falling apart. I don't understand why you would think it was still there.
I wonder, because there's part of this ending that was not included in the theatrical release. Is that right?
If I'm correct, I think all of that stuff with the older version of his girlfriend
There was
wasn't in it.
a lot at the end of this movie that was really trying to hammer home, I think, like the tragic love tale of him and his love interest. And for me, though, it was just really showing like, wow, he is really hung up on this girl.
It was kind of sad.
I feel like with the tone of the overall movie, of it ending with him at Alfredo's funeral, and he's now reconnecting with his family and his town and everything now that he's a big successful director, I feel like tied it off in a neat little bow.
And maybe keep him getting the gift left to him from Alfredo with the cut off film reels, all the kissing that had to be cut off.
I loved that scene. Yes, when he's little Toto's now all grown up visiting mom and sister now, and say Alfredo left this for you. It's a big reel of film that he spliced together of all the censored scenes from that the priest took at the beginning of the film, and it's all the lovely romantic scenes of just people enjoying each other and kissing and whatnot. Loved that. I think that was one of my favorite parts of this movie. It was cute.
Yeah, I don't know what he was thinking trying to get this married woman to run off with him, but
they hook up immediately.
I guess it kind of worked because
she was just as hung up on him.
They did hook up in his car. And I guess they're like, it's okay, we'll always have this. She doesn't want anything more to do with him.
No, she's like, well, I'll live out this fantasy with you for this night, essentially.
I wonder how her husband felt about that.
Oh boy. But yeah, that is, what is
Cinema Paradiso.
Cinema Paradiso.
Oscar winner.
See, for me, this was Mad Max Fury Square. That was my movie.
So you think he should have won an Oscar?
Bro was at the funeral too. He was still doing his thing 40 years later, just a little less hair, a little grayer. Still my square. I will fight you.
Now this movie has a 90% certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. Definitely a movie kind of like with Nouvelle Vague. I think critics, filmmakers, people like that are gonna really love this movie.
A film critic or a film enthusiast, really of any kind, if you just love going to the movie theaters, there's going to be at least a good part of this movie you're going to really enjoy. I would say I understand why the theatrical release had that whole ending scene cut, because that really did nothing other than add to this pretty long runtime. I don't think it hurts if you want to split up parts of this movie just to make it more digestible, because it's a pretty long watch through. But I think it really did hammer home like the journey of this guy's life from childhood to being a successful adult. So it worked in the long run.
I thought it was really well done. I would definitely give it a worth the hype.
Worth the hype. It was a 90% was the final 90%. Score.
Yeah. I think this is the kind of movie that everyone should watch at least once.
Yeah, I think I could agree with that.
It has a lot to say about just the beauty and respect of film and what goes into that.
It's a movie in part about relationships, family, and community.
Yeah.
And the importance of all those things.
Yeah, especially if you like going to the movie theater, which we do not, but
I appreciate the sentiment of that experience while not doing it myself.
Exactly. I think movie theaters were much different back when this movie came out in 1990.
Hey, we got streaming now. That's okay.
It's cheaper.
Things are expensive.
Things are expensive.
I can pause whenever I want. It's great.
Subtitles.
And not having to pay for snacks.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, I would agree that is a worth the hype movie if you want to know some more of the history and the impact that the movie-going experience had on families, communities, and people's entire lives. Give it a watch.
Okay, so our final movie was The Hunt for Red October. Oh. This movie made me feel a lot of things. First of all, the hero was Alec Baldwin, which is hard for me to get over.
I'll jump in first because mine's the easiest. I had a fun time with this movie. I've watched this movie I think at least one other time. This is a rewatchable movie to me. It's enjoyable. It's fun. I love the dialogue and the intricacies of the plot and the kind of background of the Cold War politics taking place, I thought was really interesting. The portrayal of things such as like sonar technology in that movie I thought was cool. And I mean, it's big old submarines chasing each other through the ocean. What's not to love?
You love some political intrigue.
I do.
Too. Yeah, this movie was nominated at the Oscars for Best Sound, Best Film Editing, and then it won Best Sound Editing, which, yeah, all that stuff was good. The effects were pretty good, I would say, for 1990.
Agreed.
I could not
Let's have it.
get over
Let's have it.
the accents. Okay? The accents
There it is.
were not good. The movie starts and Sean Connery he was trying to do the Russian accent in like the very first scene.
They
and then
gave him
midway
about
through,
4 words in Russian to memorize, so he could
just
spit out
dropped it.
randomly throughout the first like quarter of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And we do that kind of quick transition from they're always speaking in Russian to now it's all English. Some dudes have a Russian accent, but some do not.
Like Sean Connery was just talking like Sean Connery. And
He's
then
just chewing through words the entire movie.
Tim Curry was like British. And a lot of these guys had British accents. The only person who was trying, the only one, was Sam Neill. He gave that his all, even if it wasn't the most perfect accent. He tried.
Hey, he tried.
And all of the actors who had maybe like one line as one of the Russians in this submarine, they were all giving it their all too. They knew this is my moment. I have 2 lines and I am going to perfect them with that accent. But Sean Connery, was he just there to be there? I would imagine he was the big famous draw for this movie.
Yes.
So they're just going to let him be Sean Connery.
I think a big draw of this movie was, Sean Connery is at least part of the way seen to be the villain or the expected villain for at least part of the movie, because before the plot kind of reveals itself and what's really going on. On the other hand, he was just kind of there saying things, and that was kind of it. He was not giving it his all, I would say. What would you think on that?
I don't think the acting was bad necessarily, but I do think he just kind of showed up on set and was
James
just
Bond, he was not
doing his Sean Connery thing.
I won't get too much into the plot because it's very complicated, but some of my favorite parts starting out were Sean Connery grabbing that dude by the head, just slamming his head on the table just randomly. This dude's just trying to get up to go to the bathroom. He grabs his head, cracks his neck immediately.
No blood or anything.
No, nothing.
Just killed this guy.
Then he takes his cup of tea, just kind of like pours it on the ground, calls the doctor, said there's been an accident. He slipped on his tea and twisted his head around 180 degrees.
Very possible, very possible. And then one of the earlier scenes too, it was where we were kind of getting to know Alec Baldwin's character, who is supposed to be our like American hero. He's
Good old boy.
In the military, but he's also a writer. Self-insert for sure.
Yes, he is the special little boy of this movie who can do no wrong and any idea is correct.
He made me so mad at the beginning of this movie because he gets on a plane and then he feels the need to, because he can't sleep on planes, and he says to the flight attendant, it's turbulence, I can't sleep on the plane because of the turbulence, and then proceeds to explain to this flight attendant what turbulence is, as if a flight attendant would not know.
You know what? That's just Alec Baldwin. He cannot help himself. He ad-libbed that whole thing. I agree. He is the character who's going to explain everything. Everything he says is going to be correct in this movie.
They feel like showing one scene of him with his daughter gives him characterization, but it really doesn't. He's just kind of a basic dude. You know, I feel like that might be why sometimes movies like this are really popular, because anyone can see that character and kind of imagine themselves as them because there's so little personality on display.
I agree. He says some things whenever he's doing like a meeting with the military guys, and every time they're like, my God, he's right. That happens about 3 or 4 times,
Yep.
and it kind of propels us towards our climax of the shootout inside the submarine, which is probably a bad idea.
Yeah.
I will give a lot of praise to the portrayal of ships and submarines and naval stuff and shots on the ocean for this movie. I'm sure a lot of went into the like cinematography and everything, and the just all the work that went into kind of like the submarine sets looked really cool and detailed. I liked that
Yeah,
aspect
absolutely. The submarines did look very cool. I'll give you that much. With that being said, the only character I liked was Sam Neill. He was almost in a different film to me. He was upping the camp factor. And the best scene in the movie for me was where him and Sean Connery are in one of the rooms talking about what they want to do in America. And Sean Connery, I think, was actually trying a little bit of the Russian accent in that scene. Maybe
He
because
was hanging on a little bit.
there was some actual emotional depth that he could bring to the character.
This was probably the most human scene of the whole movie, I would say. After that nice little exchange, Sam Neill gets popped immediately
He
and
never
goes
got
down.
to see Montana.
Last words, I wish I would have seen Montana. Okay. It's fine. But no, I really enjoyed I don't know the actor's name, the guy playing Jonesy. He was the sonar guy who kept chasing after the Red October. Do you remember that?
Oh, was he the one who was actually like finding the thing? Was it Courtney B. Vance?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I loved his character.
I
I thought
liked
that
him
was
too.
interesting, showing the sonar aspects and the navigation and charting, things like that. I thought that was cool. Like I said, I just like some, even if it's inaccurate, just military technical jargon while seeing cool effects that will entertain me to no end. I had fun with this movie.
It's hard for me to get into a military or like war movie or whatever, especially when the whole thing is a sausage fest.
There are a lot of dudes in this movie.
There are a lot of dudes.
There are a lot of straight men in this movie.
Oh yeah,
I
they
can
were
see-
all straight for sure.
Yeah. Not very fun. You got to have good dialogue because that's about as good as it's going to get. But that's okay. That can make for a good movie. I mean, a lot of times I'm a Sean Connery fan. He will entertain me in a movie in almost any role a lot of the times. So
I was just really bored
I get that.
throughout a lot of the movies.
It's not the most action-y movie.
This just isn't my genre. I guess if it is, I mean, you enjoyed it. And
I
you
enjoyed
like
it.
these kinds of movies, so that's good.
Tom Clancy can pat himself on the back from hell. And hey, you made a fan out of me. I would say it's worth the hype.
So this has an 88% certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes.
I'd say that's pretty good. This is a fun popcorn movie. You just want to watch something that's interesting and you can see the big submarines and you don't really have to think about it. You don't have to pay attention to the plot. It's just see Sean Connery try and do a Russian accent. It's fun.
I give this a what the hell
Oh.
because I could not get over those Russian accents. Either all of you need to try the Russian accent or no one needs to
That
do the
you get hung
Russian
up on that
accent.
part is wild to me. I can dismiss that easily.
No, I would have been fine if they had just said, okay, you know what, everyone's going to do a British accent and we're just going to say you're Russian because then I can wrap my head around it. But when this one's British and this one's Sean Connery and
Whatever he is.
this one is kind of Russian, I can't get over it. That's where you need the continuity person to come in and say, hey, can we fix this? Because that is an important job.
I agree with you on principle, but I will give it a pass because 1, Sean Connery, 2, I just have fun with this movie.
That's fair. I respect your opinion. All right, so that was our week in watching movies.
We are making our way through the 90s.
one cult classic or sausage fest at a time. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
I'll let you know what we think.
We'll keep throwing those new releases in there, see how we feel about those.
I don't know if we'll have any one theme because we get such a variety of movies. So, don't know what the topic is for each day, but we'll
Make it through.
Make it through.
See if these movies are really worth the hype or if they're what the hell.
Working title. All right.
All right. Goodbye.
So long.